Hey everyone, this is Jack. This is going to be a quick bar by bar review for today, Monday, May 4th, 2026 for the S&P 500 futures contract. I've been having problems with my microphone, so hopefully that stops happening and I can actually do this. So I'm starting here with the daily chart. This is the day session daily chart, and we've been sideways for about a week or so after a big rally. Really a very climactic, very large rally. And it was very likely that we'd start to go sideways and maybe even try to pull back and test some support area down here, but it looks like the market was not able to do that. We tried to break out of this small, tight trading range, and we ended up reversing down. And as good of a sell signal bar as this was, it just became a higher low. We tested into that day's range and then rallied, creating a strong bull reversal bar and a small bull breakout of a bull channel here. And that failed to get follow through and instead created a strong sell signal bar. So it was likely that today would trigger the sell on this bar, probably to find buyers, but the buyers may not come in until somewhere down here. So I think that was the most likely thing heading into the day today. Okay, and then the 5-minute chart. Make the bars a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. All right, first bar of the day. Hope you can see that all right. We've got a bear bar. It's a doji, big tail below the bar. I imagine we channel a little bit lower, but this doesn't look all that convincing if I'm a bear looking for a bear trend. Inside bar and another bear bar, so consecutive bear bars, but they're weak and they're trading range bars, so there's probably buyers below and sellers above. Not much selling pressure in the bars. The closes are around the midpoint or above in the bar. So I imagine we have to go higher to find sellers. Bar 3 is breaking out but pulled back. So we have a tight trading range open. We have a small gap down on the day. It was likely that we would trigger the sell below the prior day's sell signal, which we did. The dashed red line here is yesterday's low. And now we're failing to go lower, so we're probably going to have to go higher and maybe test the moving average or the close of the prior day to find sellers if they're there. Bar 4, good breakout, but tail. Makes me think this breakout doesn't get very far before it has a pullback, a meaningful pullback, but the moving average isn't far away, and we've successfully tested the close of the prior day. So we may find sellers here, but I imagine we find buyers below any of these lows, and we're probably always in long. On gap down days, I know that it's statistically most likely to form some sort of a bull trend, at least for the first part of the day, if not the entire day. So probably always in long, but a lot of overlap, tails, dojis, and this is the first real breakout bar of the day, so it needs good follow through. And it's not very good follow through. We have an inside bar, but it's a bull bar, so we have 3 consecutive bull bars. We have 5 consecutive higher lows, and the bears really don't have much going for them. So it's not a very good short, but it's not a very good rally. There's probably sellers somewhere above, and they might not come in until the moving average or yesterday's high, which is way up there. That's probably unrealistic at the moment, but we have the Globex high right here, and we're right around the midpoint of the Globex range. That's this solid orange line here below the low of bar 4. So I imagine always in long, probably sellers above and buyers below. We have a trading range. We're getting an opening range breakout to the upside, but it doesn't look very good. We're probably going to go at least a little bit higher. Now we have a micro double bottom, bar 6 and 5, and we have a strong bull breakout with a very strong close. The problem is we're trying to break out of a small bull channel, and we might, but it might fail as well. We have so much overlap and such poor follow through after bull bars. Bar 4, bad follow through. Bar 5, really good bull bar. Bar 6, but probably does not get very good follow through. But it is a very strong buy signal, so there's probably buyers below. I imagine we go sideways and probably go up. Bar 7, a really strong sell signal bar. The problem is it's an inside bar. I imagine we trigger the sell and we probably head lower to test maybe the bar 6 low, or maybe the bar 4 low, or maybe the open of the day, or maybe we get a surprisingly strong bear breakout. Anything could happen. This rally is not that impressive, so if I'm a bull, I'm definitely not interested in buying at this moment, and I'd rather be interested in selling bar 7. but a lot of trading range behavior here, so not much conviction either way. And we're turning down just before the moving average here and right around the close of the prior day, so that's not good for the bulls hoping for a rally, but this may just be a pullback in this rally. Let's see the follow through. So there were initially buyers at the close, or maybe we sold off first and then rallied and then closed lower. But either way, there's a lot of overlap with 8 and 7, and 8 doesn't have a very strong close, but it is closing beyond the prior bar, which is good for the bears. But the big tail represents a reversal on the smaller time frame, and you can see we tested the low close of 2 basically and popped right back up. So that's a double bottom. If we start to rally, I think bears have to get out and bulls will probably begin to buy. Bar 9 is a strong bull breakout bar, but now we have another bull breakout of a bull channel here, and we have a tail on this bar, and we're just above the moving average and not meaningfully above the moving average yet. So probably we go a little bit higher, but I imagine that we find sellers at the close and above this bar despite its strength. I think it's strong enough to have trapped the bears who were selling during 8, and they're probably hoping for a pullback so that they can buy back their shorts for a smaller loss. So that makes buying a pullback on bar 10 reasonable. So I imagine we go sideways and ultimately go a little bit higher. But there's not much conviction in this rally. If the bulls were strong, they wouldn't have so much overlap, bad follow through, tails, and we wouldn't be getting a strong bear reversal signal bar that gets follow through. Bar 10, not much of a pullback and strong close, breakout and follow through above a bull channel, likely to go a little bit higher, but we're still very early in the day. Despite this opening reversal here failing, this rally is not that impressive, and the bulls need to do more. This is good, and we're probably going to keep going higher. We'll probably get a pullback and a second leg up, but I'd be very cautious about buying, and I would not be interested in swing trading. Bad follow through, but a weak sell, so probably buyers somewhere below. Bar 12, basically a duplicate of bar 11. This represents a two-legged pullback on a smaller time frame, so reasonable to expect buyers at the close or below the bar for a second leg up. For the bears, they're hoping this is a climactic breakout of a bull channel that's going to fail, and we're just going to we're going to form an endless pullback down and test the low of bar 9 at a minimum, or the close of bar 8. But right here, probably more buyers. Maybe they're at the moving average, maybe they're below 10, but probably we'll find buyers somewhere below. Bar 13, good bull bar, but big tail. We're making a new channel line here now, and we're closing above the prior bar, so that's good. But this tail represents a reversal, so there's sellers above, probably buyers below the bar. But I'd be very cautious about trading long here. Follow through. Now we have 3 little pushes up. We might form a micro wedge top. And probably buyers below, but again, probably sellers somewhere above. This rally doesn't look all that sustainable yet. We might get up to the Globex high. That would be the hope for the bulls, but we're creating a lot of overlap after this breakout. And that's a warning. We do have a gap here between the high of 6 and the low of 12, but this overlap and the tails and bad follow through here, all of that is a warning that this is likely forming a trading range rather than a strong bull trend that's going to last all day. We went a little bit higher. Now we have an even smaller micro wedge here. So if we start to go sideways to down, I'd be very cautious and maybe even interested in selling for a test down to here. But always in long, best to be long or flat. 16, maybe a micro double top, but maybe not. Not a very strong sell signal bar, so probably buyers somewhere below. They may not come in until down here or the moving average. It's a reasonable signal for the short, but this is the first micro channel spike break, and it's probably going to need a little bit more selling pressure to convince the market that we're going to go much lower. So we're probably going to go sideways here. 17, now we have a micro double top, up, down, up. So probably sellers somewhere above. But we have a lot of buyers buying the closes of every bar here. So we might find buyers below this low instead of sellers. But instead we get the opposite. We get a strong bear breakout on bar 18. I wasn't watching the market today, so I don't know how climactic and how quickly this bar formed. This definitely is a climax bar. It's got a pretty strong close, but there's a prominent tail here, so we may pull back a little bit. We tested below 12, the low close on 12, and now we're heading lower. The bears, the next target, we've tested the breakout point, so the next target would be the low close on 8 or the swing point on 8. And they're hoping that this is going to be an opening reversal that leads to a bear trend that breaks below the low of the day. And it might. This is pretty strong. By far the strongest bar of the day so far. Context wasn't very good for it, but the context was good enough. We had a micro double top. Not a very strong sell signal bar, so probably buyers somewhere below. But with this size bar and the strength of the close and the context overall, that means the buyers that were buying here are likely trapped and will look for a bounce to get out of their position with a smaller loss. So it's reasonable to think about selling a pullback if this bar gets follow through or if the pullback is weak. Not very good follow through. It's a doji, but we went a lot lower. We almost got to the low close on 8, and that's a sign of strength despite its failure. We rallied and pulled back, and now we have a small gap between the low of 16 and the high of this bar. Maybe it stays open, maybe it doesn't. It looks like the volatility is increasing. This bar is large. This bar is large after a series of smaller bars. So probably going a little bit lower. Sellers above, probably will go lower. Inside bar and tail below, close around the midpoint. You know, you could say it's not that much selling pressure, but given the context, it's considerable selling pressure. We're forming a trending trading range to the downside. So I imagine sellers above, not a good idea to be buying here. Bulls, you're hoping for a double bottom with bar 8, but we're not quite there. So that means that we're probably going to have to get there to form it. 21, tail below the bar, double bottom, low close 8. Channel down's pretty tight, probably sellers up here. I would not be buying. If anything, I'd be thinking about selling and looking for a new low of the day if we get good follow through. And we do, and it's surprisingly good. It's actually too good. This bar is almost 20 points big, and that's climactic behavior. The average bar range is about 9 points, so this is about twice the size of an average bar, and that is not sustainable behavior. But we're clearly always in short. We had a strong bear spike, a small channel, and now we're getting a new bear spike. This bar is even more climactic than bar 18 and more climactic than bar 9. So it's likely that we'll pull back here. It's likely to get some sort of follow through. We're testing the moving average on the higher time frames. We're breaking below the low of the day, the open of the day, the Globex midpoint, and we're probably going to go lower. But this bar is climactic, and this selling is not sustainable. So probably always in short, probably going lower, but I imagine we get bad follow through. 23, good follow through, another tail. Probably we start to go sideways here, and then strong bull reversal. It's a 2-bar reversal, tail above the bar, inside bar. Pretty good size bar, but maybe not enough to reverse this rally, or excuse me, to reverse this sell-off. So probably sellers above if we do go higher. Sellers at the close. We moved far enough below the low close on 23. That makes me think that we're going to go a little bit lower. This may be a pullback in another brief bear leg. So I imagine buyers somewhere below the lows, and we probably go more sideways. Trading range bar. Sellers above, buyers below. Micro double bottom, 23 and 26. Good signal bar, but the channel down is tight. We have not had a spike break since bar 17, so the first reversal up will likely be sold. I imagine sellers above, but it looks good. It could be a good micro double bottom, but I don't know. I would not be interested in buying. Instead, I'd be waiting to see what happens here and then think about selling. We failed to trigger the buy. That's a lot of selling pressure. We couldn't even trigger the buy above a strong double bottom signal bar. So 28 is a reasonable signal for me, a new low of the day and a scalp short. But I would be very quick to get out because there's probably buyers below. 29, another micro double bottom, 23, and this time 28. Stronger signal bar, and we trap the bears selling below, but tail above the bar. Good size bar, big risk. I would not be buying here. We still have not had a spike break, so I imagine the first reversal up will form a double top with one of these highs. Sellers above, no surprise, but strong enough signal bar to signal a little bit more down. Maybe the channel line is 23 to 29. That looks about right. So I imagine we have to get back down here to find buyers. But I imagine poor follow through. We've got a prominent tail here, a lot of overlap. This is a tight trading range. So you know what they say, sellers above, buyers below, but probably going sideways to down. Double bottom 29, but channel down is tight. First reversal up going to be sold. And then surprise bear breakout. This is either the second or third climactic leg down, and we're breaking out of a bear channel. We've got a huge tail on 32. This bar is 23 points. Not sustainable. We'll probably go at least a little bit lower, but I imagine we're going to try to form some sort of bottom soon. Some sort of trading range and test back up into the tight trading range here. Follow through, but weak bear inside bar, sellers above, buyers below. And then micro double bottom and strong reversal up, 34. Trapping the sellers, selling above 33, but prominent tail. Makes me think we'll pull back. We'll probably get another leg up and test back up into this range. We'll probably test the high of 30 at a minimum, the high of the last leg of the sell-off. Good follow through, didn't close beyond the prior bar, big tail. Probably going to find sellers above. 36, not very good context for the short. A lot of overlap here, probably buyers somewhere below. Tight trading range again, so sellers above, but good signal bar for at least a little bit more up. I'd be very cautious about buying here, and I'd probably wait for some sort of bottom or something. Probably buyers below. 38, we're alternating bull, bear, so probably buyers below the bar or maybe at the close. Micro double bottom, but not a very good one. So we'd probably go a little bit more sideways to down. Doji didn't reach the high close here, so reasonable to think about selling, but probably buyers not far below. Tight trading range, so better to wait for the breakout. No conviction by the bears. Doji, probably sellers somewhere above. I imagine we try to rally. And then another push down. Now we have a wedge bull flag. We're testing the signal bar from the short, letting out the short traders. It looks like we see the low of this bar is 72.1550. High is 72.1525. So we have a one tick gap between this high and that low. And now we've just closed that gap and we let the sellers out without a loss who were selling above 33. That's a strong sign of selling pressure, and that means whatever rally we get is likely to find more sellers up here. Reasonable to think about selling highs if we get the rally, but also reasonable to think about the buyers here. We have buyers below lows, and that's working out okay. And now we have a reasonable buy signal bar, 41, at support, the signal bar for the long. So we'll probably try to rally here. But we could get a surprisingly strong breakout to the downside and make a new low of the day. We don't have a lot of conviction here by the bulls. We couldn't get any consecutive bars here, all throughout here for the last couple of hours until finally 34, 35, and it's not even that strong. So the bulls really don't have that much going for them. I'd be interested in shorting, but not here. This could be a wedge bull flag. 42, inside bar, weak signal bar for a short. I'd be very careful here. I would not sell. And then 43 bull bar, not all that big, but strong close. Probably would go at least a little bit higher. It could be a micro double bottom with 41. It's a wedge bull flag with a strong signal bar. Maybe we test back up to the close on 37 or the high of 35, or maybe get all the way back up to the first pullback after the bear spike. Good follow through, but right at the moving average. Could be a double top, 37. So probably we pull back here, but I imagine we go at least a little bit higher. Doji, probably buyers below, and then 46, surprise bull breakout. The problem is it's climactic. It doesn't look uniform with everything that's happened over here. We've got a prominent tail around the high close of 24, so I imagine we find sellers above. Maybe always in long, but this bar needs follow through, and the follow through isn't very good. It's small. Why is it small, and why isn't it closing above 46? Probably we find sellers here soon. 48 more sideways, again probably sellers above. And then strong signal bar for the short, but again we have a tight trading range, similar problem to over here and over here. Might be buyers below, but reasonable short. I don't know that the context is quite good enough. We might have a micro double top with 47 pullback and then 49 open. Double top with 24. We have two big legs up, and the second leg is complex with a pause in between two smaller legs. So it's reasonable, but 48 is not a strong signal bar for a short, so I'd be very careful shorting here. 50, the breakout failed and reversed up, good enough for a scalp. If you took it, probably sellers above these highs, but not all that convincing for the bears. You know, where are the consecutive strong bear bars? You know, we don't have them, but we do have consecutive bear bars, a reversal and follow through, so that's good. Probably sellers above, probably this gets some sort of second leg down, but we might have to rally to find it. Bull bar, weak with a tail, probably going at least a little bit higher. 52 follow through, but again, weak, probably sellers above. And then breakout, test of the 48 close, pulled back, and the moving average as well. Double top, two legs up. Maybe we need to go a little bit higher to form a wedge, but this is a reasonable signal for a short. I don't think I would take it. I don't think the context is quite good enough, but I imagine sellers soon. Better, but still a very small and weak signal bar for the short. I'm not sure that I would take this one. I would probably wait. And then bull bar, strong close, breaking out above the double top. Probably goes a little bit higher, probably gets follow through. But again, we have a second leg already. We have a big wedge top. So I imagine sellers somewhere above. 56, not a very strong close, but reasonable signal bar for the short. I'm not sure that I would take it. But 57 is a warning that we might have to test down below 55. And if we get even better follow through, we might go even lower. So 3 consecutive bear bars, probably going lower. Probably will get down near the 50 area, but we're right at the moving average with 3 small bars, a lot of overlap here. But good follow through, strong closes, and pretty uniform bars. So I imagine this gets a second leg, probably sellers above. And then surprise breakout to the downside. Double bottom 50. Maybe we bounce here. We have a small tail indicating a possible bounce, but I imagine the pullback will be sold. We went a little bit lower before we reversed up. Now we have a strong bull reversal bar. It's not that strong. It's got a tail and a small body, so probably sellers somewhere above. Bear bar, reasonable to think about shorting here for a test at the low of 60, maybe back down to the double bottom. 62, not what the bears want to see, but everybody sold the close of 61. We have no tail on the top of 62, so probably going at least a little bit lower. And then bear breakout, we have a channel line here, and we're breaking out of that channel line, so the breakout is not likely to get very far before it starts to pull back and fail, but it is an interesting short, betting on a test back down to here. Instead, it reverses up 64, strong buy signal bar, but probably seller somewhere above. And then bear bar, testing far enough below the low close, makes me think we'll go at least a little bit lower, but tight trading range again, and disappointing for both sides of the market, so probably bad follow through. Micro double bottom 64, or 63 close, 65 close, but probably seller somewhere above. And then an inside bar, same, probably sellers above and buyers below. 68, bull bar, good size bar, but weak close, big tail, not very good context. First reversal up, likely to find sellers somewhere up here. Good follow through. I imagine we go a little bit higher, but probably we find sellers above. And then 70, reversal bar, micro double top. I imagine we go at least a little bit lower. Disappointing follow through, but probably still going at least a little bit lower, maybe down to the 68 low. 72, breakout pullback, probably sellers above. Maybe a micro double bottom. You could say the low of 69 and the close of 60 or 72. So I imagine we rally, but probably just to find sellers. 74, probably we trigger the sell, but maybe we pull back first. Good follow through, probably going at least a little bit lower. But then 76, we've got a tight trading range. Going to be probably pretty hard to escape the magnetic force of this trading range. Probably sellers above, buyers below. Good bar for the short, but late in the day, better just let it go. Probably going a little bit lower. Instead, alternating bars. We've got a tight trading range. And sideways into the close pretty much since 68. So interesting day overall. I called it a trending trading range day. with a bear reversal, we had a bull trend here. We get a prominent bear reversal that lasts most of the day. So I think it's helpful to view the day structure like that. But you could also look at it as having an upper trading range, a lower trading range, or maybe a trading range here, a lower trading range, an upper trading range. Helpful to look at it in any of those ways. But that's the review. Thanks for watching. Yep. It's been really busy lately. I don't know how much more I'll do, how active I'll be, but I'm going to try to get more and more practice in as time goes on. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.